Hey, partners. I am here with Dave DeVito, and he is on our platform. And I wanted to introduce him and let him talk about a little bit of his background and see if he would be a good partner for you to reach out to. So, Dave, thanks for being here. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, David. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, man. Tell us about you, how you got into real estate and what you're currently doing, if you could.
Yeah, no, I'd love to. So I've been doing real estate for about 8+ years. I've always had a passion for real estate in that regard. Started as a side hustle, 8 years ago plus. I was in the advertising business in New York City for a long time. Ran sales teams at Newsweek, some YouTube ad tech companies, social media influencer companies, you name it. And so that was my day job, paying the bills, and it was a great career. But I definitely always have had an entrepreneurial spirit. And about 8 years ago, we got one of those postcards from Tarek El Moussa, who's got some TV shows and whatnot, got a mentoring program. So Tarek sent me one of those. Oh, come to the Hilton Hotel, and we'll do a free learning about real estate investing. And it was my wife actually who got it, and she said, "You've got to go to this. You've been talking about real estate for a long time, and corporate life as you get older is pretty demanding in that regard." And so I went and just checked it out, and I sat there for a good 3 or 4 hours. It was actually a pretty informative session. I was very impressed by it. It wasn't overly salesy until the end. They actually gave us some really good information, and that's where I learned about wholesaling. I had no idea. Like many, had never heard of it. It wasn't really that prevalent as it's become now, but the concept made sense to me instantly. I've got a background in sales and marketing, and I'm a networker. And just from being in business for 25+ years in general, I've got a pretty good network. And so I learned more about it, and just started doing a little bit more diligence. I did not buy the course, but at the same time, I started, like many people do, watching all the YouTube and reading books and just preparing myself. But the biggest thing is that it's obviously just arbitrage and just hitting the phones, doing some social media marketing and all of that, which is my background. And so I started just hitting the phones, making some things happen, networking on Facebook and everything, connecting with other wholesalers that were achieving it, other investors, and just getting my own foothold in the Connecticut investor community was a big part of it. And then I just started going into all aspects of it. I bought a couple multifamilies, pretty quickly. It was a nightmare of an experience, but a great experience. I definitely made some money. I didn't lose money, but like many newbie landlords, I tell people that was great tuition. That was great experience.
Right. Yeah. Even if you lose a couple bucks, what you learned from it means a lot, right?
Exactly. And I listen, on that note, YouTube, meetups, all very valuable. And I definitely, without a doubt, encourage people to go and spend time in those. But I also tell people, you really never truly learn what you need to learn until you just do it. Don't be afraid to fail, as they say, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Be careful, be responsible. Don't take too much risk financially. But the beauty of wholesaling is that you don't need a huge amount of financial investment to get going with it. That's obviously why it's a really great entry point for a lot of new aspiring investors. So, again, that was about 8 years ago. I've done 100+ deals since. I was doing 10+ deals, 12+ deals part-time with a pretty intensive corporate job where I had 3 hours total commute each way, or total each day. So, I was staying up a lot of late nights, early mornings, and doing that. And then about a year and a half ago, COVID obviously changed the world for everyone. It was very tragic in a lot of ways, but at the same time, it was a blessing in the sense that I got rid of that long train ride every day. And so I still, kept my job and was working it, but I had 3 more hours a day instead of being on a train to apply to my side hustle.
Right.
And then at the tail end of COVID, I was working for an out-of-home industry, and the out-of-home media industry during COVID, as you can imagine, was not the place to be. So I, like many, was victims of layoffs. And, I went to my wife and I said, listen, obviously it's a risk, but are you okay with me trying to do this full time? And, she said that, hey, listen, you've never let us down before. And so she encouraged me to go forward. So for the past 18 months, I've been trying to pivot into a full-time experience, which is great, very challenging. I still have a lot of work to do. I'm not even close to it. I mean, as most entrepreneurs will tell you, that first year is a learning year. And you're not always learning, but so now I'm really excited to be going all in and learning more about wholesaling, learning more about being a marketer, because the marketing that I do is largely for Fortune 1000 companies. Now I'm marketing for myself, first of all, and then also marketing for small business is a lot different. And so I'm trying to get my brand out there. So that's why I appreciate your time today, and I'm excited about the community that you're building. So that's a little bit about.
let's talk about community for a minute, because you have there in Connecticut, you have a Facebook group, correct?
I do. Yes.
How many, what's the Facebook group specifically for? I know it's real estate, but is it wholesaling? Sure. Is it just real estate investing? And how many members you got in there?
Yeah, no, thanks. So the name of my Facebook group is CT, Off Market Real Estate Deals and Funding. I know it's a little long, but it kind of is all encompassing. CT for Connecticut, obviously. And I started the group about 2 years ago because I'm a big believer in Facebook. I mean, I am joining anytime I have a real estate Facebook group out there, I'm joining it. It's a great way for the algorithm, right? My Facebook feed, I don't even see my friends and family feed anymore. I just see all real estate. It's a great industry, right? Because again, the algorithm is everything. I've been seasoned over 8 years. But to answer your question, the group I really founded to be for everyone in real estate. And that's a really good point that in your question is that, yes, I'm a wholesaler, but I'm also a licensed realtor. I didn't mention that. I got my license about 3 years ago. I'm with Real Brokerage here. We're one of the fastest growing brokerages in the country. But unlike many realtors, I obviously am wholesaler friendly because I am one. And so I really want this group. The purpose of my group is to really just be a very collegial, collaborative community where we're all in real estate. There's no bitter rivalries. And like I monitor that group, and I had been in that group and as soon as someone starts trolling people, those posts get deleted. Whether it be a realtor bemoaning wholesaling or a wholesaler making fun of ultra traditional realtors, as they say, right? That can't get beyond the and so buyers, vendors, you name it, in that regard, even buyers and sellers, even residential non-investor based buyers and sellers, I encourage you joining that to just learn, because I just hit 7,200 members last week. So I'm really excited about that. It's growing pretty quickly and organically. I do intend at some point this year to start programming it with some better content, but I haven't really, outside of being a really tight admin to make sure it's a clean group, I really haven't put a lot of content out there. And that was on purpose. I want to kind of let the group just become what it's going to become. And I think that organic nature of Facebook is important in that regard. But it's been great. I do deals in there. I connect with people in there in that regard. I did it obviously, selfishly for my own business, but I love it when people come up to me and they do tell me this, that they're getting deals done as well. It's not just for me. Right. You can't be ultimately selfish if you're going to run a successful Facebook group or community, as you know.
I like to talk about that on the interviews and on the podcasts I'm doing. And I'm sure you can attest to it, that having partners in this business is crucial, no matter what stage you're at. If you're trying to learn it, if you're getting into it, if you're 10 years into it, this isn't a solo sport, right?
No.
So how much would you contribute your success to aligning with other people in the industry?
Everything. I mean, yes, my experience in sales and marketing and my built-in sphere of influence, just that I've built over many years, is part of it. But any successful entrepreneur will tell you that you can't do it alone, to your point. I mean, leverage is the basis of all business. Never, whether you're Jeff Bezos at Amazon or, a small-time real estate guy like me, right? In that regard, because it's a couple of things. One, it's about bandwidth. one of the things I'm always trying to do is establish strategic relationships with people, whether they be newbies. Like, I'm happy to mentor newbies in exchange for them kind of bringing me deals. We'll work them together. I make them some money by doing some work, but I also do that to allow people to shadow me, and I use these deal flows as the education. But I'm also always trying to partner with people that are much more established than me. So it goes up and down and sideways. Right. I do a lot of disposition. I'm pretty good at finding buyers for deals, for legit deals. And so I'll JV with that. The word JV you see all over these communities, right? But, JVs aren't just for the newbies. If you're smart about it, it's really important to go out there and spread it, because, my goal is to do 10 deals a month. I'm not there yet, but that's what I'm trying to get to with this new full-time thing where I'm feeding my family and it's my main source of income, right? It's really tough to do that alone. However, I'm trying to find multiple strategic partners, and I've got a good friend of mine was a syndicator. He still is a syndicator, and he approached me about a year ago. He says, Dave, I want to learn wholesaling. And so, he and I have formed a little JV together, and we talk all the time, and we've got 3 deals under contract currently, just he and I, and I'm there to really teach him. I'm not obviously charging him anything. And we spend a lot of time on the phone, and he's working acquisitions, as am I, and we're just sharing the load there. And I also do a lot of deals with realtors. I mean, that's a big one as well, because, and that's one of the reasons why I got my license, because I wholesale and I'm very investor minded, as you can imagine, but I also deal with retail based buyers and sellers of their own personal homes as well as a realtor. And so that diversity and just full knowledge. But my point is, most realtors just don't understand wholesaling because either they don't want to, or they just don't have that creative mind to appreciate it. But there are a lot of realtors that do. Like, my best deal last year was one in which a young realtor at my brokerage at the time had a listing opportunity, and we were on a Zoom coaching call at the brokerage, and she was almost literally crying because she's from this really great town in this area that's a really hot marketplace. She's like, I finally got my first listing, but they won't let me put it in the MLS. And this place is disgusting. There's cat feces everywhere, and it's a hoarder situation, and it's not going to show well. What do I do? And I was texting with her because I knew this woman already. And we talked. We both visited the seller together. We leveraged her relationship, and we got the deal under contract at a price that was fair to the seller and also was enough meat in the bone for an investor. And that was the first step, as you know. The next step was I had a really good friend who's a really accomplished and talented rehabber who liked the property, liked the opportunity, and we got under contract within a week. It was in New York. New York is not the easiest to wholesale, but it's possible. So it's a little while. Right. I do most of my deals as in Connecticut, but I do live right on the New York border, and so I do deals there too. And long story short, we probably could have listed it for probably $400,000. My rehabber buddy, basically, we negotiated with him that he allowed us to list it after he was done rehabbing it. We listed it for $950, and we got 27 offers within a weekend. And I did the right thing. Yeah. I gave this young agent part of my assignment fee. I did all the work, and this was a pretty complicated deal that I was happy to take on all the work. That's my offer to the realtor. And then I basically co-broke the listing. And so instead of having a tough time struggling to maybe sell a $400,000 listing, she got a nice piece of my assignment fee on the front end almost immediately. And, it was a good $300,000 rehab. So it took a good 6 to 7 months. It was a long rehab, but once she listed it, she got, more than double the listing price of what the as is was. And not only that, I taught her how to really, on her social media, market herself as an investor-friendly realtor, which is another term which could be good or bad, because a lot of realtors just love to just throw that term out there to market themselves, but they're really not, because they're dangerously unknowledgeable about it. And so I'm there for this woman. We're trying to do more deals together. And I tell her, listen, if you've got a client, I'm not going to steal your client, I promise, but I am here for you to kind of educate them on how to underwrite, how to do all the things that most traditional realtors aren't as experienced in. And so I apologize for being long-winded, but that's a story that I like to tell, because I'm trying to appeal and be that service to other realtors and saying, listen, I'm here for you. Let's co-broke this. Let's collaborate.
Yeah. I don't think any of it, the mindset with a lot of realtors, nothing changes overnight. But in the, since this wholesaling thing really got going, now there's a lot of realtors that are wholesalers and with the investment groups, and you're seeing more wholesalers out there. I think the opinion of wholesalers is changing. And sure, there's some old school people that still aren't fond of it, but I think I just, had another interview and I told the person, I think in 10 years, this will be pretty mainstream, even with realtors, right? They'll have investors, wholesalers, realtors, and everybody will be good with that. So who are you looking to team up with, Dave? If you've got joining your group, coming to you on wholesaling partners, if somebody wants to connect with you, who are you looking to partner up with?
Yeah, it's a good question. There's many different layers of it. So I'm more than happy to partner and collaborate with newbies. However, as I tell people, I expect you to work. I expect you to be transparent, honest, and high integrity and professional. That's one of the problems with wholesaling. That low barrier of entry is because a lot of people just don't have a professionalism to them. I don't tolerate that. I think that's one of the biggest problems for all of us. I've done many podcasts and whatnot about ethics in wholesaling in that regard. And, people that are willing to work. I mean, this, David, it's not, everyone loves the money and the glamour and kind of like the great Facebook posts when you see these people posting their checks on Facebook. But it's not easy. And I have brought on newbie wholesalers that I spent a lot of time with, and they don't want to do the work, or they don't want to go through the process. They think they know better. They want that quick fix. And so if people are like that, don't call me. But if you're humble, if you're professional, you want to learn, you're coachable. I spend a lot of time, I'm generous with my time with newbies, because again, my goal is to groom them, hopefully, where they join my team in a bigger capacity, where they might start as a bird dog or start as a newbie wholesaler. But if they prove their worth, I'll work to get them to where they're maybe being more acquisitions agents or getting more things done. So that's one of the things. I'm always looking to partner with more senior wholesalers that don't need to be taught as much, but might need help doing dispo. A lot of senior wholesalers do that with me, and I'm happy to do that. I just don't daisy chain. I'm very transparent, and there's a system of doing it the right way. Also, just as I mentioned, realtors, for that classic story that I just told now. I'm helping to teach realtors creative real estate and doing it the right way, and making sure that they are staying true to their fiduciary responsibilities, and they are okay with their own personal broker that's holding their license. That's another subsect. And then obviously you have what I call like the upstream vendors, the lenders, the contractors, all these things, other investors that might not be wholesaling. Obviously I care about the flippers and landlords, because those are my buyers, those are my clients. Sure. And so there's so many different subsects of who I care to connect with. And that's why I created the group the way I created it, right? It just is in structuring how you collaborate with them. And then last but not least, I'm always looking for people, obviously, to know a lot more than me, because I think I'm pretty well-versed, but I know very little of what I want to know. And so, people that might know more about a certain element of creative real estate or investing in that regard, I'm always looking to have coffee and learn and trade, because it's about a win-win situation. The biggest advice I got as a mentor when I was younger is don't network and just be take. After all my discussions, and you and I had one last week, so this, I always ask, hey, what can I do for you? And that's a must. That's my advice on networking.
I already have something in my head. If you want to know, I'm going to tell you. I think that when time permitting, I would like you to come on and us do a full webinar on wholesaler ethics.
Yeah, no, I'd love to.
Yeah.
No, I'd love to, because it's an important task. It's an important task. And it's just as much about explaining how to do it and really getting across what you need to do. And it's hard. Because again, I do think at some point, in a lot of states already, as you know, are already forcing you to be licensed in some capacity to be a wholesaler. Yeah. I do think that's going to spread pretty quickly next 3 to 5 years, if not sooner.
Probably, yeah, most likely. Yeah, it's being pushed by NAR, the National Association of Realtor, their lobbyists are pushing that legislation in a lot of states. Twofold. One, people should have some kind of training or some kind of licensing or something. I'm not against that. I think, it doesn't hurt, right? I think,
Yep.
Another reason on it, I think, all of a sudden realtors and, their association are saying, hey, there's a lot of deals happening that our realtors aren't involved in now, right? So we want wholesalers to be licensed. So, right, we're involved in it. But, but that's another podcast on it.
I know.
So,
Yeah,
right?
we can talk all
so many-
day. I know there's time.
There's so many facets of it. I hope, if you don't already have your Facebook profile linked on, or your Facebook group linked on your profile on Wholesaling Partners, I'd encourage you to do that, because I'm right now going to encourage everybody, if you want to connect with Dave in Connecticut and see if you guys can work together, check out his bio. I'm going to link to it under this video. And I'll also link to your Facebook group. I encourage anybody in that market in Connecticut to join Dave's group and get in there and learn from smart people. So thank you for being on here, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it. I had fun.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay, talk to everybody soon. Bye.